A solar eclipse is a phenomenon that, whenever it comes around, captures our collective imagination, causing us to marvel at the grandeur and awesomeness of nature. We in the Averett Department of Language, Literature, and Culture take the opportunity of the solar eclipse on Monday, April 8, 2024, to remember a scene from a classic piece of American literature.
In Mark Twain's A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court, protagonist Hank Morgan is transported after a conk on the head backwards in time to the 6th century and an era of legend. The first clear indication of his extraordinary and unlikely situation comes in a chance conversation with a 15-year-old denizen of King Arthur's court.
He asked me all sorts of questions about myself and about my clothes, but never waited for an answer. Always chattered straight ahead, until at last he happened to mention that he was born in the beginning of the year 513. It made the cold chills creep over me. I stopped and said, a little faintly, "Maybe I didn't hear you just right. Say it again, and say it slow. What year was it?"
Hank Morgan initially refuses to believe this unlikely scenario, but what ultimately confirms his predicament is a random recollection. Somehow, he remembers that a full solar eclipse had taken place in June of the year 528, 2 days from the time he now supposedly occupied.
But all of a sudden I stumbled on the very thing just by luck. I knew that the only total eclipse of the sun in the first half of the 6th century occurred on the 21st of June AD 528 OS and began at 3 minutes after 12 noon. I also knew that no total eclipse of the sun was due in what to me was the present year, that is, 1879. So, if I could keep my anxiety and curiosity from eating the heart out of me for 48 hours, I should then find out for certain whether this boy was telling me the truth or not.
Hank's skepticism of the surreal chain of events is matched by the confusion of the residents of Camelot, with them shortly taking him prisoner and promising to burn him at the stake. His recollection of the solar eclipse ends up being not only the confirmation that he is indeed in the 6th century, but also a useful ruse in convincing Arthur, Merlin, and the rest that he, Hank, is in possession of great powers.
I followed their eyes as sure as guns. There was my eclipse beginning. The life went boiling through my veins. I was a new man. The multitude sank meekly into their seats, and I was just expecting they would. Merlin hesitated a moment or two, and I was on pins and needles during that little while. Then he sat down, and I took a good breath, for I knew I was master of the situation now.
And so Hank Morgan, thanks to a solar eclipse, began his illustrious and violent career as a person of power and influence in King Arthur's court. Thanks for taking a few minutes to enjoy with us this work of classic literature, particularly those of you from the year 3375 visiting for the occasion of this year's solar eclipse.